What happened next was not my choice. I was on the ground with something climbing through me and a dead Adonis symbol humming against my hand. Something chose me, or perhaps the choice had been made years ago on a rainy road when I followed a tall woman's directions without question. The compass rose cracked, and something inside it moved into me, through the skin of my hand and into my blood, and from my blood into my soul. It moved the way Iteria herself moved, with calm certainty and absolute gentleness, and the quiet understanding that she was right and you knew it. The force eroding my memory and self did not retreat. It coiled tighter around whatever it had already claimed inside me. It dug in, and this small fragment of Agus's will that now sat behind my ribs like a second heartbeat fought back. Iteria's image turned toward me, and I did not mean the frozen memory repeating itself, but rather some last scrap of will or attention that she had buried in there. Our eyes met. The place fell away and was just the two of us standing on a road that did not exist in any physical place. She had the same expression she must have had on that rainy night years ago when she found the lost guide stumbling through the hills. In the last moment before everything broke apart, she smiled. She believed I would find my way, and also that I may not, and both of those things were true. She believed without contradiction, because that is who she was, the goddess of journeys who knew better than anyone that not every journey ends where you hope. She did not speak at first. She looked at me with a patience that had nothing to do with time and everything to do with the kind of love that does not need to be earned. Then she spoke, the only words I ever heard her say with my own ears, if ears are how you hear Adonis in a place that does not exist. She said, "The road ahead is long, and there are others on it who cannot walk it alone." She paused, and I felt the pause the way you feel the ground shift before a hill. "Will you walk with them?" I said yes, and I felt the compass settle deeper behind my ribs, as if it had been waiting for permission. The warmth spread through me with a certainty that was not mine, but that I recognized. It was the certainty of someone who has walked every road and knows which ones lead home. There was no grand pronouncement in it, no divine contract or holy edict, just a question asked the way you ask a friend to help you carry something heavy. I think she knew I could not say anything else, not because I was compelled, but because she had asked, and because I had spent my whole life following her roads. The light from her staff guttered out and died. As Iteria's image scattered like smoke in the wind, the goblins came alive, finishing the charge that they were frozen for however long that place had held them. And I discovered, like learning that you could swim when someone throws you into deep water, that whatever she had placed inside me had not only kept me alive, but had given me something. I do not remember every detail of the fight, and what I do remember does not make sense to me, even now as I write it down. I had my sword that I carried for the road, and I remember drawing it and feeling something move through my arm that was not just muscle and reflex. The blade felt lighter, steadier, as if someone had wrapped a second hand around mine on the grip. I'd always known how to swing a sword well enough to discourage a bandit or put down a wolf, but this was different. I understood where to put my feet and how to turn my hips and where the blade needed to be before I could have thought it through, as though the knowledge had always been sitting inside me, and the compass had simply lit the room it was sitting in. I swung and connected, and the first goblin went down, and the second was already on me before I had finished the strike. There were too many of them. There were dozens, and I was one man with a short sword, and a place that wanted me dead. And at no point during what followed did I believe I was going to survive it. One of them lunged at me from the left, and I raised my free hand to shield my face, and fire came out of my palm. A burst of flame that struck the creature in the chest and sent it tumbling back into two others. It was not a great torrent of fire, not the kind of thing you hear about the stories of the old war mages. It was enough to burn and enough to buy me a moment, and the moment was all that I needed to get the blade up again. I tried it a second time, and ice came instead. a sharp spray that coated the ground in front of me and sent the next wave of them stumbling over each other. I found that I understood both, the fire and the ice, in the same instinctive way I understood the sword, as if I had always known how to reach for them. They did not flinch from the fire or the ice or the blade. Whatever happened to them, it had taken their capacity for hesitation, along with everything else. I took wounds. A claw opened my shoulder. A club caught me across the ribs. Something hit my calf, and I kicked it loose and nearly lost my footing. The gash on my shoulder began to close on its own. I could feel it happening, the skin pulling together with a warmth that had no source I could explain. The bruise on my ribs faded from sharp pain to a dull ache, and then to nothing. It was slow, and it was not complete, but it was enough. The wounds that should have accumulated and slowed me and eventually killed me were closing behind the fight, and I stayed on my feet longer than I had any right to. And beneath it all, beneath the fighting and the fear, I could feel Iteria's light pressing outward from my chest against the corruption that saturated this place. The muck receded where I stood. The air tasted less like metal. Whatever she had left inside me was waging its own war against the spiritual taint itself, while I dealt with the knives and clubs. I fought my way through them. I do not know how long it took. I cut and burned and froze and bled and healed and kept moving forward because forward was the only option. I did not stride out victorious, but crawled and stumbled, bleeding from wounds that were closing too slowly now that the worst of it was over. If Iteria was watching, and I choose to believe she was, I hope she found it more endearing than pathetic. I found what was left of the refugee caravan by midday. Perhaps 2/3 of them had regrouped on the road. The rest had scattered into the forest, and some would find their way back, and some would not. They saw me coming and knew something was wrong. I could see it in their faces before I was close enough to speak. Whatever had happened to me in the grotto warren, it was visible. A woman at the front of the column told me there was a faint light behind my eyes, and I could feel a warmth radiating from my chest, even through my clothing. I think I simply looked like a man who had walked into a fire and came out still burning. The priestess of Kira, a woman named Sama, was the first to examine me. She put her hands on my chest and pulled them away as if she had touched a hot stone. She said I was possessed and that I needed to be destroyed, quickly. Something I personally disagreed with. In her defense, she had spent her life serving a Gauss of protection, and here I was, a walking embodiment and violation of everything protection meant. A father of Nixa named Voss, a quiet woman who had barely spoken during the entire march, stepped between me and Senna. She said she could feel two things inside me, not one, and that destroying me without understanding what it was would be foolish. Senna argued that caution in the face of Thadra responded that ignorance in the face of the unknown was how people lost. I couldn't help but laugh at that irony, even when it was offered in my defense. They argued for a long time as I sat on the ground between them and tried very hard not to die, which took more concentration and effort than I would have preferred. An old man, Alin Marsh, who followed Vathus, said very little. He looked at me for a long time with an expression I cannot quite name, something between recognition and sorrow. It was the look of a man who spent his life worshipping a god of famine and peace, and who therefore understands, better than most, the survival is not the same as victory. That carrying a burden you did not ask for is its own kind of devotion. He brought me water and said, "You're still walking." I said yes. He replied, "Then keep walking." That was, I think, the closest thing to a blessing I received that day. The Iteria faithful were the most intense. They could feel what was inside me. They had felt it at shrines, at tea houses, at crossroads where the goddess was said to appear. It was hers, and they knew it the way you know your mother's voice in a crowd. Some touched me and wept, because feeling her warmth inside a man threaded with corruption was like finding a loved one's ring on the hand of a stranger. Whether it was a gift or a theft, whether I was carrying her blessing or wearing her corpse, they could not decide, and I could not help them because I did not know either. No one agreed on what I was, and no one had the authority to decide. The churches had been built around gods who were present, gods who could be asked questions and who would answer, gods whose priests spoke with certainty because that god was standing right beside them. Now the gods were gone, and the certainty was gone with them. Here I stood, a question that none of them could answer with confidence. They did not kill me, which I appreciated, but they did not embrace me either. They watched me, and they argued about me, and they walked beside me at a careful distance as the column resumed its march towards Freeland. I do not know what I am. I do not know what to call what has happened to me. Neither does anyone else. I am a man with something burning in his chest and something icy in his veins. I put one foot in front of the other because that is what I know how to do. Somewhere behind my ribs, a compass is pointing forward, and forward is the only direction that remains.